stream. Tonight we have a tier 2 game, the second one going on, and that will be between Tater bots and Valkyries. For your caster commentator duo, you have Jibba and Charles.
Hey, hey.
So we do have readies from both teams. We are just going to get right into this first map.
Jumping into Oasis, Valkyries and Taterbots both having a 1 and 2 record here in the Overwatch Oasis League, trying to get a nice and early start to jumpstart what could be a very close series today, Jibba.
I think it definitely will be. Both of these teams have shown multiple times that they are quite capable. Ooh, my pause button's not working, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Quite capable of doing what they need to do. Oh. Okay, it did work. What button is pause bound to? That is the question. Can you just let them know in match chat? I'm trying to sort that out real quick because I have no idea what buttons it's on.
Yep.
It's the up button. Okay. We're gonna fix that. That is not our usual pause button.
Over here on the side of the Valkyries, we have Bleem and Pookie starting on the tank line with Weiss Queen and Ravioli Stain playing DPS. Paired behind them, Danny Yuki and Fentanyl. On the side of the Taterbots, we have Jagex, Rage Quit, Bullet Dodgers, Korean Wannabe, and Maka and Polish making up the support line as we get the pause fixed and ready to go here on Oasis. The map architecture here usually lends itself to some crazy brawl. A lot of Mei play, a lot of Reaper, lots of Rhines, lots of Zaryas. So very interested to see if any teams decide to break away from that tradition here.
God, it's always
so... Queen teasing us with that corridor Junkrat, just filling that tiny little mini health pack room up with the skill nades. Ravioli Stain with the Sombra. Very interested to see who the hack targets come out on. But, ooh, ladies and gentlemen, bring your lactate because Korean Wannabe is whipping out the cheese with the Bastion. No! Oh no, back to the... Okay, over to the Hanzo. Okay, I see how it is.
So indecisive, Korean.
So both teams opting for Reinhardt, but Bleem does get walled up immediately. Very good coordination here to break the shield to make sure that they do stay up as the pin comes in from Jagex, but doesn't quite find Bleem immediately. But the barrier does go down. Bullet Dodgers immediately finds a headshot onto Bleem as the Valkyries get a head start here. 6 on 5 here on point. Looks like they're just going to give up the point and back away as Bleem is still returning from the fight. Ravioli team manages to barely get out with what looks like 5 health points. Polish AF playing quite aggressively on the front line next to Jackass, hoping to use that boop to displace some people as Rage Quit here sets up those very, very long sidelines that the Risa is such a big fan of. Ravioli team does get picked up early once again, and the Valkyries unable to have a full fight still, but the Nano does go out, and it is 2 more kills coming through from the side of the Taterbots as they continue to keep this ticker up and running at 33%. Jibba, Valkyries here unable to get a full 6-on-6 fight going yet.
I think, well, I do really like the Sombra that they're trying to run. This double shield that they're running, especially with the Orisa shield, which can just be put down, might be a little hard. You might want a little more shield break in here to help support Weiss Queen with that one.
Well, Alter being popped as Bleem manages to barely dodge the second half of that Dragon. Jagex goes deep and helps take down Weiss Queen as Ravioli Stain falls down as well. That is no DPS players on the side of the Valkyrie still up and alive. Rage Quit there did commit the bongos as Korean Wannabe puts down the Dragons. But lots of ults coming online on the side of the Valkyries as they only committed the Valkyrie from Danny Yuki. The beat comes up from Polish AF to keep their team up, so no real value managed to be gained on the side of Pokey over here, but Polish AF does go down as Rage Quit as well. It is 6 on 4 here on point as Valkyrie steam forward to manage to recap with 85% on the board. A fall for the Taterbots. It is 1-fight territory, Jibba.
Danny with some impressive battle mercy there, using up the rest of that Valk to help take down 2 of the Tater bots to make sure that Valks are able to capture this point. Always nice to see a battle mercy.
Truly spoken from a battle mercy herself, Jibba. Love to see it. Jagex here with the Shatter online. The pull comes through. The Tire doesn't find anybody. Korean Wannabe takes on White Queen as they're in the middle of that Junkrat ult. Bullet dodges, does get stunned onto the ground, hammered down by Bleem over here, but it is looking like absolute chaos on point. But Valkyrie still managed able to hang on and keep some progress going. Bleem goes in deep, already down to quarter health and gets melted down by the Solar Revs. Oh, Korean Wannabe, the Hanzo's so dangerous. Waiting on the shield of Fentanyl, just managed to get out with half of their health up. Pokey taking so much damage on that front line as you're the only tank left, but Maka goes out, but not before getting that Nano boost onto Jagex. The Dragons come out, Pokey just manages to dodge it, still maintaining a healthy point presence with Fentanyl, and that EOP goes in deep to keep everybody up. But Bleep is back, not quite close enough to collapse onto that graph, but the EMP does come through. Rage Quit goes down, so does Bullet Dodges, and that is 4-5 kills coming out on the side of the Valkyries as they continue to keep this ticking. Losing Bleem so early on in the fight, but still managing to rally. Lots of credit going on over to Pokey here, Jibba.
A lot of good ults used there by Valk. They didn't really overextend. They do still have their 2 support ults. They were able to bait out a lot of Tater's ults, so Taters are only coming into this with that freeze. Like you said, they weren't really close enough to collapse, but good use of the EMP there to help them make up that distance.
Well, Korean Wannabe goes down early as well, and don't forget, yes, the Mei has the freeze, but Fentanyl does have that beat ready to go. The Tire comes out, finds Jagex, and it is looking very, very tricky here on the side of the Valkyrie. Fentanyl over here pops the sound barrier right as they get frozen, does manage to help keep their team up, but does get moved down to the low ground. Bleem over here down as well, and it is players alive, but no numbers on point here on the side from Valk. This could look like trouble as Polish AF commits the sound barrier as well. Oh, Pokey gets frozen over here and is punched into the wall by Korean Wannabe, switching off the Hanzo, coming back onto the Doomfist. Bullet dodges and Rage Quit finding a kill apiece as Jagex finds Danny Yuki. This is looking very, very difficult, and it is just Ravioli staying still alive on the side of the Valkyrie.
So Valks do still have enough time to touch this point, especially with Ravioli kind of lingering around here in the back. If they're able to build up another EMP for this next fight, they should be able to contest Taters here.
Well, like you said, Ravioli staying decloaking, but getting taken down as they try to touch. Pookie does manage to get just over that wall to make it worth Fentanyl on point as well. And it is, Pookie does get taken down as the Shadow comes out. Finds 3 in the backline. White Queen gets demolished by Polish and that Earth Shadow as Bleem goes down as well. Danyuki gets destroyed by a Maka Mora Still Orb. It is looking increasingly difficult for Valkyrie to contest over here. And it is 1-0 over to the Tater bots. Jibba, great work over here by the Tater bots to stabilize after, like you said, coming in with just the Blizzard. If we're being honest, I didn't expect too much to come from that, but they managed to flip it and cap the point and take the round.
Bullet, I do a mean scavenger hunt cat normally. Bullet did a really good job with their walls there. They were always able to kind of wall off either Bleem or Pookie, one of the 2 tanks. But I do want to compliment Valkyries because they were immediately taking that wall down just to get right back to their tank so that there wasn't too much damage done there.
Nah, no, fair enough. The wall kind of sucks, if we're being honest. It's kind of 400 health per pillar, so if you try hard enough, that thing gets melted very, very quickly. Bleem over here sitting onto the Reinhardt Jagex as well, both opting to go for the Brawl. Pookie and Rage Quit matching on the Zarya. Nothing more stressful than going on a mirror matchup, as you have really no place to hide, especially as a Rhine player. It's all about those mind games. But Ravioli's team falls early yet again as Valkyrie is down to 5 players to start the fight. Bleem goes in with the stun, but Polish AF there manages to stop him from going super deep, and they do get taken down. And it is once again an early cap onto the side of the Tater bots. Just once again, Jibba, I hate to, kick a dead horse, but the Valkyrie's continuing to get picked first early on in a fight and unable to go in and brawl and do a significant amount of damage, given that you're fighting 5-on-6 very, very early on in fights, Jibba.
They made some really good swaps here already, though. Knowing that Taters aren't playing a hit scan, that Fire Mercy should be really dangerous. Ravioli should be able to build up a lot of ult here, especially just damaging into the shields.
A bullet dodge is switching over to that McCree just to give you that caster curse. The pulse bomb comes out, doesn't quite find anybody, but the coalescence does get deployed by Maka and helps them take 3 down. Bleem does get an execute onto Maka, so the point is not fully clean yet, but it has never swung over onto the side of the Valkyrie, and they are forced to reset halfway onto a round win here on the Taterbot's side. Jagex on their way to a full shatter here. Bleem not super far behind. Pookie and Rage Quit both very close to a grab as well.
Even though Bullet just switched to that McCree, this fight already almost has ult, so you can definitely see the work that Bullet's putting in.
Yeah, for sure, especially seeing that Ravioli Scene is switching onto the main now. That's the 3rd hero they're playing, and they drop. Again, this is very difficult as White Beam finds 3 with the Junkrat Tyrant. Ravioli Scene gets rezzed again. It is a 6-on-3 fight here on point. Bleem goes in deep, knowing that there really isn't the pressure there from the Taterbots to get him down. But the counter charge comes through, but the collapse comes in on Jagex as the Valkyries flip the point. But once again, flipping the point at 1 fight territory, Jibba.
I'm glad to see the swaps that we've had. Ravioli was really smart to get off of that Pharah, and the Mei should be really helpful in trying to deal with Korean on the Tracer, but we've seen Polish get some really impressive sleeps, so want to see the tanks definitely keep that shield up and see the rest of the team play behind that shield.
Fair enough. Well, the Valkyrie gets deployed very early on the side of the Valk. Super confusing. Fentanyl with the nano boost on mine, hoping to just keep Bleem up and alive. But the grab does get deployed first. Counter grab goes through. The wall comes in between. Both sides a little bit nullified, but no. Korean Wannabe comes in with a huge pulse bomb onto White Screen. The rest does come out. The shatter comes out, doesn't find anybody. But the counter shatter finds 2. Pookie and Bleem both get dropped. Bleem goes in deep, takes down Polish, but not before they manage to get the nano deployed. And it is absolute mayhem here at the choke on point. It is just Daniyuki and White Screen hoping to stall this point up for as long as possible for the tanks to get back. Daniyuki gets booped off the, nope, still on the point, just touched at the very, very end, and gets smashed to bits by Jagex. You hate to see it. 90% and ticking here on the side of the Taterbots. The High Noon is used to just to zone everybody back. It is looking extremely difficult. Fentanyl probably have to be the one to touch here as Bleem is just getting CC'd out of his mind. Does touch, give their life for it. Fentanyl comes in at half health already so early on in this fight. We see the tire being deployed again. Is it large? Yes, it is. It's White Queen on the tire, getting 2 kills. Daniyuki gets Bleem back up. This could be the change they needed, but the grab comes through. Fantastic grab. Polish finds 1. Jagex finds another. Finds 2. Fentanyl goes down along with White Queen. Jagex with the triple kill to make it 2-0 on Oasis and 1-0 over to the Taterbots here in the Overwatch Oasis League, Jibba.
White Queen was doing quite the amazing job there with those tires, able to get 2 or 3 each time. But, like, the way that Taters were just playing, they were not scared to lose those players. They did not back away from any of those fights, kept playing aggressively and playing into the rest of Valks, which definitely helped them out.
And if I recall correctly, I don't believe Ravioli Stain managed to get that Blizzard off after switching, like playing 3 heroes that round. So curious to see if Valkyries continue to try to adapt to whatever being thrown at them, or just picking some comfort picks, sticking to what they know as they hope to tie out this series.
So we're gonna go back to lobby here, get some swaps happening. Ask them if they have any swaps and readies.
So far, both teams are very, very happy and very comfortable sticking with the Rhine, and almost exclusively Azaria behind the Rhine. We saw a little bit of a reset early on coming out from the Taterbots, I believe, but the Rhine-Zarya battle, fascinating here to see as Jagex, Ragequit, Bleem, and Pookie just kind of refusing to give any ground, and of course Bleem and Jags swapping and trading lots and lots of pins. Nothing too crazy. I know in some tier 3 games I've commentated recently, there have been some incredibly deep pins coming through, but Bleem and Jagex keeping those pins nice and short, nice and clean. We've seen some Annas and some Mercies fall foul of a 500-pound German man with a rocket strapped to his back.
Yeah, both of them were short, clean, but also very targeted. I think both of them took a Koang Moira out of the Koa just by getting those pins off. So, you know, good focus to make sure that that didn't really affect their teams too much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have swaps from Valk. Looks like we will have Beagle coming in for Pookie. And Living Truth for Fentanyl.
Hollywood, always a delight to watch how the teams decide to path and how they really try to approach point A. Because once you get through that initial choke, you can, kind of wrap around to the high ground on the right side, high ground left side, all the way around on the left. They're kind of 4, maybe 5 viable lines of approaches here to path your way onto that point A. Point B, really a Widowmaker's paradise over here. Lots of Ash play and lots of Tracers flitting around. The open air and the cover lends itself to some good Echo play as well. But good luck if you try to run an Echo directly into an Ash. And hangers, point C of course, very cramped, everybody indoors. Expecting to see a Weiss Queen whip out those Junkrat tires yet again. But Hollywood, an extremely dynamic map as we jump in here. Taterbots leading Valkyries 1-0 here in the Overwatch Oasis League.
What kind of comps would you like to see run here on Hollywood? We've seen, Korean likes to run that McCree. We know Korean likes to run a Widow. We've seen some Tracer.
Well, I personally like as much creativity as I can see, and attacking sim makes me happy. I like watching actually a lot of Sigma play off that high ground, whether or not you use the Symmetra to get up there. Let your Ryan brawl. I think Sigma does a really good job controlling the high ground, even though he had little to no mobility. But once he gets up there, the accretion does so much work, as well as, of course, his primary fire with the AoE onto that very, very tight spot. I know Sigma with his abilities, he's usually, a lot of people think he's like a frontline brawler, but I actually think Sigma's underrated when you take the off angles with him, and I also think that it kind of, from a lore perspective, fits his smug and shoeless lifestyle to just kind of take his time, be in the back, be in the high ground.
This is very true. Oh, and okay, there we go. Wonder if we're having a little bit. Oh, and my mic unplugged for a second there. Sorry about that. And we also have 0 here now for the Taters.
Let's go. So it looks like we have Weiss Queen and Ravioli Stain staying on that damage lineup for the Valks. So, fingers crossed that the Junkrat does get whipped out on a hanger.
Alright, and we just now need a ready from Valks, and we will be good to go. I do love a very aggressive sim attack, but if you can take that teleporter out early and split the team, as long as you can collapse upon them and only like 1 or 2 are able to get through the teleporter, it's always to your advantage.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think the ability to flit around those angles as a sim is so important here. And on defense, on the other hand, we've been seeing a good amount of Bastion being played here. Be it on the high ground, I've also seen some Bastion just played on the payload defensively, and it almost worked out in last night's game between Valhalla and Diving Phoenix. They held a point for like 3 minutes playing up Bastion on point, so will be very interesting to see how that plays out. But the bigger problem here, Jibba, I believe, is that neither team have fully coordinated their player icons.
Sometimes
a
that
bad
is.
Look.
I was gonna say sometimes that's like a good luck thing, In sports, you don't change your socks. In hockey, you don't shave your beard if you're in the playoffs, things like that. So matching icons are a very big thing sometimes.
Imagine being that dude that doesn't change their socks between games. What a lad.
Awful.
But Weiss Queen and Beagle here, I don't want to be too harsh on them being the only two people not having the Valkyrie spray, but I believe this is what is officially classed in the Overwatch Oasis League here as throwing. But hopefully they can prove me wrong out in the map.
It could be some tactical intimidation. You never know.
Before the stream started, just for the record, just so everybody is aware, Valkyrie did spell out Chipsa using player icons. So with the strength Lord Chipsa grants us, we are about to jump into Hollywood here in the Overwatch Oasis League as Valkyries trailed the Tater bots 0-1.
We are having a chat bug issue on the side of Valkyries, so we're trying to get that fixed.
It would not be an Overwatch game if chat bug was not an issue, Jibba. No worries, all part of the routine.
The newest complication of trying to cast these games. Oh, and it looks like Beagle is trying to leave and reset.
Alright, fingers crossed, kids.
I do love a nice Torb on Hollywood myself, though. Defense Torb.
Well, the defensive Torb is always fantastic, especially, I think, well, I wasn't as underrated as a strong word, because I think we all know this by now, but Torb's just so undiveable. You know, as you try to collapse, you know, maybe you see an Ana on the back line, you jump in as a Reaper, maybe as a Tracer, and then a 4'0" Swedish man with a beard the size of a studio apartment is right in front of you. What are you going to do, land your headshots? You can't look down that low. So, yeah, no, the Torb, especially with the overdrive ability, kind of the kind of going even toe-to-toe with a Reaper close range.
The ability to place your turret in all of the variety of areas, you don't see it too much anymore, but the elevating platform, used to see a lot of Torb turrets there, but there's so much high ground for that turret to just kind of get some extra little poke damage in, and then if you can prevent the team from pushing through choke that first point, using the Torb ultimate definitely makes a team stop in their tracks. Let's see, is Beagle coming
We're still
back?
struggling here.
All right, looks like Pookie is coming back in.
All right, messing up my notepad yet again here. Looks someone bled out on my page. Hold up.
Chat, what would you guys like to see? What kind of comps are your favorite for Hollywood? Ash is usually quite popular on these two.
Chat, what kind of comps would you like to see on Hollywood? Wrong answers only. But no, for real, no, Ash is an extremely viable pick, not just in this meta, but especially on Hollywood. Like I said, the Ash or maybe the Widow so deadly on streets, able to just take these ridiculous angles off to the side, but also the Coach Gun giving them the ability to escape the initial dive, so making it possible for them to play directly behind their team. But it looks like readies are out as we are loading in onto Hollywood here in the Overwatch Oasis League. Taterbots 1, Valkyries 0.
Something you don't really see too often on this map, hard hold first point. So I would be very impressed by both of these teams if we are able to get that from either one of them. It's definitely a possibility. A Zen. Atcat would like a Brig or a Zen. Brig, please. We all love some Brig plays. Wrecking Ball and Zarya with Torb and Genji and Brig Zen. Sounds like a comp to me.
Well, it looks like Tater bots are rolling out with the tried and trusted double barrier on this defense with bullet dodgers trying to do their best Weiss Queen impression here on this Junkrat. Exer taking our advice, going the little Swedish man. Maka and Polish making up a very standard Hollywood support line here of the Mercy with the Baptiste. Bleem on the comfort pick of the Reinhardt, Pookie on the Zarya, with Weiss on the trademark Junkrat. Ravioli saying, ooh, don't tease me, baby. That's a sim on attack with Danny Yuki, and Live in Truth on the Moira and Lucio.
So it looks like both of us are getting our wishes with attack and defense.
Just Tater bots getting some poke damage done early on. Ravioli staying not afraid to shoot some Symmetra orbs in there, so they are aware that the sim is in play. They rotate on the high ground. Weiss Queen does get dragged off, but managed to rotate back together. All 6 members make it alive. Pookie gets stunned by the accretion, but stays up as Symmetra just charges up that turret to absolute full power. The microwave is well and truly in effect. Bullet Dodges does find Ravioli Stain. You're holding on a very small platform here against a bunch of Junkrat heads, so that could be very dangerous, but you are down 5 on 6 here as Bullet Dodges looks in to take a more aggressive angle. Exert goes down, so does Weiss Queen, and it is a reset on the side of Valkyrie. Jibba, the rotation coming out with Ravioli Stain's teleporter, but then you know, Valkyrie just kind of just waiting to try to play that poke fight instead of really taking anything super proactive or aggressive here with their pathing.
Amazing rotation and pathing, and I really like the intelligence from Valkyrie to play this the sim and the Junkrat for the double shield break. I think what would have benefited them more when they teleported up there, take that teleport down, and where they are right now, be able to go back and forth on those 2 high grounds would have been really good for them.
Ooh, sneaky beaky, ladies and gentlemen. Ravioli Steen here taking that weird high ground angle as the team pushes onto the ground. The beat comes out, but so does the Flux. I think the Flux came out after the beat, surprisingly enough. Weissen gets slammed onto the ground, and it is a triple coming out from Korean wannabe Bullet Dodgers, helping out, finishing those low targets, getting 5 in a single fight. That is massive. As you can see, Bullet Dodgers already at a Riptire. Weiss Queen only at 54%, Jibba.
Nice to see that Valkyrie are realizing, you know, sim teleports, you really only get 1 or 2 attempts at those. So happy to see that they have switched to the Pharah Mercy, especially because, again, there's really no hit scan to respond to them. Yeah, there's that Torb turret, but that Pharah can take that down quite easily.
So the Shadow comes through. Bleem doesn't really manage to find anybody as Jagex is there with the Fortify, but Pokey is behind him. Creates so much space there, Bleem, taking such an aggressive angle, and it is 4 down on the side of Taterbots. Another one, Bullet dodges us alone in this stairwell and gets absolutely melted as well. Jimmy, I think you nailed the nailed on the head there. Ravioli Stain switching over onto the Pharah, making such a difference here.
Yeah. Plus, seeing the way that those 2 tanks, they realize the 2 shields are a little bit more passive shields compared to the Rhine shield. Push right on through it, and you don't have to worry about breaking it.
Fair enough. Your shields don't matter if I can walk past them, but Exer gets nailed with a pull, with an accretion, with some Helix rockets that are damage boosted. That is a 4-on-1 kill. That's gonna hurt. Danny Yuki does get the Reds off, as mistakes don't matter when you are playing a Mercy.
Like to see Tater's positioning on this. They're playing very aggressive. They do not want to give up too much space here.
Well, the grab does come out. It is not eaten, and it is destroyed. Weiss Queen taking out the Junkrat. That is some Junkrat on Junkrat violence as the Aussie terrorists lay into each other. Weiss Queen taking out Bullet Dodgers, winning that Junkrat duel, as T-posing and asserting their dominance in that duel. Fantastic work, guys. Pookie takes out Jagex as well, and Valkyries continue to get this payload moving.
Have to be careful with how aggressively they're pushing up. I know they want to make sure they take Korean out, but the rest of the team will be coming back, and you don't want to have them at your backsides here. So really
here taking an off angle, just, you know, dueling a little bit with Ravioli Stain, as Ravioli Stain is forced to teleport out of there. Jagex is back and ready to go. Korean wannabe with the Flux online to pair with the Bongos. The Old Man Visor is deployed, isn't quite finding a lot of damage right now. I guess taken out by Weiss Queen. The Flux is pulled out I don't believe that finds. Oh, nope, there we go. That's the backline going up in the air as well as Lean, but Living Truth with the sound barrier ready to go. B comes out. Weiss Queen takes down Polish over here, but Gleam Shadow gets canceled. Doesn't matter. Pookie has the grab ready to go. Exer gets pinned into the backline. Korean Wannabe is hacked over here as the Sigma is being collapsed on, but the Valkyrie from Makai trying to keep everybody up. Bullet Dodgers fall as well, but so does Living Truth, and it is chaos on the point, but nobody's able to touch as Valkyrie just inches it closer and closer and captures point B here in Hollywood.
Amazing patience there from both Korean and Living Truth. Korean waiting until the very last minute to use that ult, but also for Living Truth not getting baited into using the Lucio ult right away, the sound barrier. Was able to kind of use it for the team when they were caught up in that.
Those ultimate mind games, you love to see it, Jibba. But Bleem over here, using a shatter the last side, but already back up to 60%. Pookie using a grab very recently and 3/4 of their way to another one. Korea want to be switching over onto the Zarya as Jagex helps match them with that Ryan Zarya brawl, matching Bleem and Pookie.
Are we going to
Polish
see an
Dust
EMP
gets
tire?
in the back line, but the EMP tire could be massive. Valkyrie is still online from Danyuki, allowing to be very aggressive. EMP comes out, no tire. Oh, tire up onto the high ground. Nobody sees it. It comes out onto Logar, chasing everybody away. Onto Maka, and then it's a triple coming out from White Speed, and Pookie takes out Jagex as well. But Bullet dodges and matches the triple. Does trade their life for it. Can they still touch? Exer is on point alone and hacked. Wow! 2 triple kill tires coming out from either side. Weiss King and Bullet Dodgers refusing to lose the Junkrat duel, but ultimately the point does go over to the Valkyries as they push the point all the way to the end here in Hollywood with 2 minutes remaining. That is a very healthy time bank, Jibba.
We saw in the Pizza Planet game the other night, actually, in the Tier 3 Pizza Planet game, I cannot recall, I cast it and I can't even remember who they were playing. You cannot ignore a Junkrat that is literally right on point because it takes them less than a second or two to get that tire off, and if they're in the middle of you and you're trying to collapse upon them, they are going to take 3 to 4 of you with them, just like we saw from Bullet Dodger.
The Kamikaze Junkrat, ever so effective. Also very underrated takedown. Underrated way to take down a bunker comp. Just drop your Junkrat, let them die right on top of the Bastion, and let the nades do the rest. Over here, both teams looking to continue to run the Ryan Zarya. Once again, Jibba, those look like their comfort picks, especially for Bleem and Jagex.
I can agree with that. It's really what's working, and sometimes comfort picks are what are the best thing that you can do. You can try all these crazy funky strats, but at the end of the day, like if you're good at a character and you're good at what you do on them, you can be pretty unstoppable. And AtCat, this is a scavenger hunt just for you.
Fair enough, Jibba. That is Jibba over here in the Overwatch Oasis League, officially endorsing your one-trick mercies. Bullet Dodgers and White Scheme both pulling out the Junkrat yet again as Extra plays the Genji. Speaking of one-trick heroes you can't get people to swap off of in the ladder. Maybe looking to build a Nano Blade.
If they can get that quite early in this fight along with the grab, it might be a lot of trouble here for Valks.
That's fair enough, but I think they might just have a little bit of trouble trying to build that up as they get melted very early on by Weiss Queen. Weiss Queen and Ravioli Stain, the Junk and the Torb, 2 great heroes at mitigating the movement of a Genji.
We see that Torb on the elevator, like I called out, that you don't see very often.
It looks stupid, but it works. It ain't stupid. Exer over here just trying to get a little bit of damage in, a third of their way to a blade, but that is compared to Ravioli Stain 60% to a Molten Core, and Weiss Queen already with a Junkrat online, but trades their life on. Wow, Weiss Queen is committing and goes onto the high ground looking to get some off angles as the Valkyrie is popped out by literally halfway to the break rally, but Jagex gets pinned very, very deep by Bleem. Bleem does manage to stay up, taking a very aggressive angle. The Valkyrie there to help. Drops 3 with an Earth Shatter, and that is lovely work here. Bleem is forced to back up the Earth Shatter, buying their team lots of time, but not himself any kills. But no worries, Exer takes down Pookie, but is traded as Ravioli Stain has that turret ready to go. Danyuki reses Pookie over here, and Tater looks like they are going to have to read that. But Exer 90% of their way to a Blade, Jibba.
Yeah. Valks did a really good job of not overextending ults into that fight and of rebuilding any ult that they needed to. Right now, the only ult they won't have is that Rein. But Taters are coming in with all 6. Really good patience from Polish not to use that nano and just to wait it out until Zero gets that blade.
Zero. That's how you're pronounced.
I mean,
so the grab does come
wrong.
out and everybody gets pinned. Jack X gets pinned. Korean Wannabe goes down as well. White Queen's tire does get taken down, but no worries. That is already a fight swung in your favor as your team takes out 4 of the Tater bots over here. Any chance Zero's Nano Blade finds any value, given that we have a Molten Core ready to go with Living Truth's Shield Bash, with White Queen's traps?
I definitely think so, especially with a grab. If you just get a bubble around a nanoed Genji, a lot of that damage will be negated, which is exactly what we're seeing.
The bubble is up, but White Queen finds 2, but Zero and Polish responding and getting 4 with a little bit of extra help from Maka. Polish finding Daniyuki as well. Bleem does get res, but this looks like trouble. The Molten Core still on point a little bit longer. Bleem could be massive, finds a very deep pin onto Korean Wannabe and swings away for the win, but Zero does end up taking Bleem down. That is the cast occurs. I said that the Zero Nano Blade could be really tricky here, and it was not. It was an excellent way to open up the fight, cracking the point wide open. Fuki here switching onto the ball just to contest a little bit longer, but that is to no avail, as they probably are switching back to the Zarya over here. Taterbots get the cart moving here on point A with 3 minutes left on the clock, Jimma.
Nice to see Pookie was able to get that switch in before the spawn switched over on them. I know that's sometimes really hard to do. So they're not going to be causing their team too many issues here. Just have to work on getting that charge back up.
Zero now switching over onto the Pharah. Running heroes that on paper look bad against the Tor, but ticking up the turret. So who am I to judge? Tire is deployed over here on the side of Bullet Dodgers. Doesn't quite fit everybody. White Queen matches with one of their own. Go to the depth deep. Back deep into the backline, Korean Wannabe goes down. Jack X's Shadow not really finding a lot of value. Bleem goes in for a deep pin, but gets nailed against the wall by Jack X, but the bubble is there to keep them alive. That is that Rein Zarya synergy you love to see here in the Overwatch Oasis League as the Reds come through on White Queen, and the Valks are able to fully stabilize here on Streets of Hollywood. Jiva, I don't, once again, don't want to cast or curse anybody here, but the Tater bot's stuck in a very, very tough choke to push through, one of the hardest on this map.
Yeah, and Valks have the ult advantage on their side here. Taters do have that Koa online, but that's really the only one that's close up where we see Valks have Molten Core coming up too.
Well, the Valkyrie is deployed by Daniyuki and is matched by the Coalescence from Maka as they gain so much ground here. Bleem comes out with the Shadow. Jagex was in the air, but still manages to block almost all, if not most of it. Bullet Dodgers does find White Queen. This Junkrat duel, a wonderful bit of side plot, B plot that I'm loving here over here. Bullet Dodgers goes down, and Daniyuki reses White Queen. Zero goes down as well as Valkyrie's managed to hold here. Taterbots came in extremely aggressively. It looked like Valkyries had to give up a lot of ground, but the patience pays off, Jiva. They get the kills and they reset here, continuing to hold the choke.
I like to see how aggressively they're pushing up to meet Taterbots, but also that they know, the time differential. If there is a team kill, it could be a little tough. So they want to eat off as much of this clock as possible.
Zero deploys the barrage to find Fuki over here, but the Molten Core is there to counter any aggression from the side of the Taterbot as White Queen finds it bulletproof, and Ravioli Stain's turrets does end up dropping Jack X. Zero gets an execute onto Daniyuki. Can't res anybody if the Mercy's the one that dies, but Korean Wannabe goes down as well. Somebody, probably just gonna send Living Truth to pick up Daniyuki, and it is 6-on-6 again here, and it is nearing one fight territory here for the Taterbots. Vox looking very healthy to tie out the series at 1-1.
But Taters are about to have almost 5 ults online here, so if Maka engages with this Koa, the rest of the team will be able to build this up pretty quickly. And they
so
are
Zero finds Ravioli Stain already. Valkyrie playing very passive, knowing their win condition is just a one fight. White Queen takes down Bullet Dodgers with a wonderfully timed bind. Zero over here completely uncontested as Ravioli Stain switches over through the soldier, but the Shadow comes through, finds 3, but it doesn't matter. Zero lays out the barrage on Bleem, but White Queen Junkrat killing the bar, not something you see every day. The bomb goes out, doesn't quite find anybody. Bullet Dodgers takes down White Queen. This absolute mayhem here. Points as Living Truth is continuing to contest the point, Nobody able to get rid of the Lucio buys their team enough space and attention for Pookie to take down Maka. The fight is still well and alive for both teams here, Jibba.
Really nice focus from Korean to push Danny off of that res as Danny was trying to get Bleem back up for this fight.
Well, Bleem does find a kill onto Zero as Pookie takes on Jagex. Danny Yuki finds a kill onto Korean Wannabe, and it is Living Truth with the sound barrier here just to flex as we wrap up here. It is 1-1 here in the Overwatch Oasis League in Hollywood. Jibba, I have to say, I am massively impressed by how Valkyrie's played on streets here.
It's definitely a big difference from what we saw on Oasis. You know, sometimes playing a payload map versus playing a King of the Hill map really just helps show the objective and how to play around it and how to play like the areas. And just, you know, you have your focus and everybody has to play around it. So I think it's sometimes a little bit easier to kind of really stand your ground on those kinds of maps. And we saw Valkyries do that.
And you know, I mentioned this earlier. I hate to harp on about this. Well, I don't hate to harp on about it because I loved watching it. Valkyrie's doing so well to disengage when they needed to. You know, Tater bots come in with a lot of aggression, and Valkyrie's respecting that aggression and just backing up. It's like, look, I know you're angry. Just take a second to breathe. And then the moment the Tater bots count down, Valkyrie claps back. Fantastic work here to just the calls from the tanks and the support there. Nope, back up, kite, and the team just pulling out of there. Letting Tater bots use their ults and use their cooldowns, and then all of a sudden Valkyrie presses the go button, and that's, you know, 1 or 2 kills popping up. And of course you feel like Valkyrie doing their best to buy their team time, especially Ravioli Sane and Weiss Queen here, because the longer you let the fights go on, the more time there is for your damage to pop off and do something absolutely glorious, which Weiss Queen and Ravioli Sane have been consistently doing today.
Sorry about that, just getting all the spectators moved. Getting that map switched. We will be going to Hanamura. I said King of the Hill and I totally meant control maps. Whoops.
Whoopsies.
But
all over here we are...
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, seeing how Valkyrie's played on that payload map, I would not be surprised if they're able to translate that over to Hanamura here now. Although really aggressive pushes through points in like 2 specific areas, we saw Tater bots do really well with on that on Oasis. So I think this map will be definitely either team's game.
Well, we are 1-1 here in the Overwatch Oasis League as Valkyries just took Hollywood, tying it up 1-1 against the Tater bots. We are moving over to Hanamura, and you know, say what you will about 2CP. I think that Hanamura is probably the best 2CP map, except for, of course, the legendary Paris, which I know is a crowd favorite.
Literally my favorite map, actually.
Jibba, damn.
It is.
We're trying to get people to watch this stream. My goodness.
Listen, it's not a balanced map. It's not a great map. But when you can hard hold first point so they can't take it, and or when you can take second point, it's a very satisfying feeling either way. Especially if you can take second point very quickly. If you can just steamroll onto that second point and do it. I know, everyone thinks I'm wrong. I am always wrong. Like, I know people hate it. But Dallas Bunker is fun on... I think that's the second point, right? With the 2 shields and the teleport back and forth. I did that last season, and it definitely worked out really well. And on the first point, too. First point, yeah, where you go back and forth. I know it's not a good map. Oh, it's Fire Bastion? All right, well, you could just keep proving me wrong, my friend. Clearly, I watch a lot of Overwatch. I wish I had more time to watch Owl, if I'm being 100% honest.
Do you have a favorite team, Jibby?
I would say Boston, since that's my hometown team, but they're really not very good, so...
Fair enough, fair enough. But with Punk coming in, Fusion's kind of given a second lease of life. I live in Boston, I have for the past 5 years, so I also feel bad kind of not simping for Robert Kraft. But, you know, if Boston are gonna throw every map, then I gotta root for someone else.
Plus, their colors really, like, I understand the color choices, but they don't look amazing together. I do get the Boston Sean.
Jibba, I will counter that with a very, very personal point here. Like I said, I currently live in Boston. I went to Suffolk University. And you can't, the blue and gold, baby, that is a classic color combo, Jibba. You can't.
Is that Suffolk's
color? It's on our, yeah, we're blue and gold. You know, I was like, listen, you know, Boston Uprising, real recognizes real. Because I believe the Boston Uprising is to the Overwatch League what Suffolk University is to Boston universities. So, I feel like that's fair enough. But, my mediocre education aside, we are jumping in to Hanamura here in the Overwatch Oasis League as the Valkyries are tied up with the Taterbots 1-1. Bleem and Jagex are both continuing to stay in, but their off-tank partners being swapped off. Maybe a sign of things to come. Maybe we're going to see a little bit less Reinhardt. 20 seconds before we find out what that looks like.
I would love to see a Hanzo Ashe on this map. I know Polish is a really good hit scan. So I'm very interested to see what kind of DPS we're going to get out of him. Ready for battle. And we get a Reaper.
Let's go.
Good for attacks in case there's a double shield and kind of able to break through this choke point. Reaper will be a great counter to Beagle here.
Beagle about to get shredded, I was just going to say. Not just, you know, the Reaper, of course, you know, very good at shredding through the armorless Roadhog, given that man's like 95% body fat and 5% hook. But also with the bubble and with the Wraith to dodge the hook, Beagle's gonna have a pretty rough time here. But Bleem sticking onto the Reinhardt, and so does Jagex. Coco playing the Zarya as Zero. Goes over to the Hanzo. Polish switching off! So, well, there's the proof nobody's stream sniping. Because, I was looking forward to how the Reaper was going to do against a Roadhog.
I think Zero will be able to kind of counter Ravioli to help Polish make some space here.
Well, that is a trade coming out early on as well. Polish does get stunned early on, but does manage to stay alive. White Queen and Fennel going down. There's some early picks coming out from the side of the Valks. Beagle does find Coco, but Bleem and Danny Yuki both go down.
Zero in these backlines.
Chunks down extremely low, but yeah, no, sorry for cutting you off. There's Zero indeed in these backlines, but Beagle does find Zero. Polish goes down, but Zero does get rest. The Hanzo, that's those Stormy was doing so much damage to that big hitbox of the Roadhog. Immortality is popped on point as looks continuing more and more healthy for the Taterbots, but I take that back. Beagle does whip out the whole hog as Jagex. I don't know what happened there. I think they hit the charge, hoping to run at Beagle, not seeing the whole hog, but that gets absolutely blasted off the point here as Bleem swinging away. White Queen finding two. White Queen for the second time today finding kills onto that Pharah, Jibba.
Yeah, Jag, I love you. You know I love you, but big oof. He definitely was trying to charge at Beagle to take him out of the whole hog, and Beagle was able to angle him so that the charge took him off the map instead. Impressive, because he went from one side of the belt to the other.
That's always a risky move to try to charge a ulting Roadhog, because in my opinion, you just end up stuck in the air and then you die. Coco does find Fennel nice and early in this fight. White Queen with that tire online already. 2 ticks being secured here and closing in on the third. And they don't manage to touch! Bleem just gets CC'd off the map and now has to hard reset by charging off the map, doing their best Jagex impression. They don't touch! Is that technically a Charlie Niner chat? Let me know. They do get that quick spawn time, but not quick enough as the Taterbots already knocking on the door of point B here in Hanamura.
I want to point out impressive timing from Bullet on that Immort field. They knew that was coming, that tire was coming in from behind them, and instead of allowing White Queen to get a big one, just negated it.
Well, the Shatter comes through, drops 2 on the ground, Beagle finding 2 more kills. I'm not personally a huge fan of the Hog, but I'm being proved wrong. Beagle here putting an absolute work on the Hog, getting 2 exit kills there. I believe opening that fight just now, the opening fight on point B with a hook onto Zero as well. Of course, Zero would not be a good Hanzo player if they didn't just spam aimlessly down the choke. You love to see it. Sorry, your scatter arrows got nerfed, but the dragons come out with the grab. This could be very, very large. Zero finds 2 with the dragons, does get by Beagle, but Beagle, the peel is there, and Beagle is forced down onto the low ground. It is 6 on 4 here, 6 on 3 as Revelation goes down as well. Bleem gets pinned up against the wall. Beagle continuing to find kills, whips out the whole hog, but this time Zero does find the kill. Bullet dodges is res. Danyuki, fantastic res, nobody's noticing. Beagle gets propped back up on their feet, and the Roadhog is alive and vaping. The barrage comes through from Polish as Beagle finds another kill onto Zero. Fennel goes down, but the numbers are starting to be on point on the side of the Valkyrie. Fantastic work. Ravioli lays down the Bob, and Polish and Bullet Dodgers go down. Yet again, Jiva, when it looks like it was all over, Valkyrie's continuing to manage to hold right at the end. They had no right to do that. That was ridiculous.
Oh, poor Maka. Really, really smart there. Great res from Danny, and also just from the team to make sure Maka was not able to get out to badly stagger that Mercy a little bit. Definitely thought Taters had that. I questioned their rotation at first, going top left with the Junkrat, but great play from Coco to grab them into that corner.
Was the Bullet Dodgers using the Immortality earlier, but it doesn't matter because White Screen finds Zero as Bleem finds Bullet Dodgers, and that is 5 kills coming out onto the side from the Valkyrie. White Screen taking that Jagex. Oh, almost a clean team kill, but that kill onto Jagex is coming a little bit late as Danyuki reses Bleem. A very, very clean fight here, Jiba, as they continue to rack up these ultimates.
Yeah, Danny's doing a really good job, knowing that they can get that res off, that it's going to be at least another 10 seconds before Taters are able to move in, so they will have res again for this next fight, unless there is a crazy early pick.
Well, speaking of reses, Maka forced to use theirs early, but Bullet Dodgers goes down as well. You can't res twice in a row. Fennel over here with a habit of chucking down the Immortality very early on in fights. We'll be very curious to see if the Tater bots manage to spot that out, and hoping to maybe pressure that out before using maybe a Dragon's Death Blossom in the back line, as that is an easy habit to spot. But Bleem holding on to the Shatter with Beagle, whole hog ready to go as well. Ravioli staying halfway to an EMP, Jiba.
I think we might be seeing an EMP whole hog, maybe? Wouldn't be the worst thing, but probably
it's close. That's a hack whole hog. The Reaper goes down very, very early on. Ravioli staying, you know, saying it's okay, I'll hack this one, and Beagle having no problems committing an entire ult just to take on Polish, because that's a fight 1. But Weiss goes down, and you are 5-5 here on point. Do be noted, Weiss has a ridiculous respawn advantage compared to Polish. Ravioli continuing to take these very, very annoying off angles, doing exactly what Sombras are supposed to be doing, and the Tater bot's not really having a very good response to that, especially given that there are only 5 players, but Polish does come back and pressure that Sombra off that high ground, who is now 15% away from an EMP. Both teams trading Valkyrie. Will be very hard to get any kills in this moment, but I am wrong and dumb as Beagle finds Polish, that Zero goes up to Ravioli Steen as well. Bleed lays down the Shatter as the Tire comes and finds a triple kill. 3 ults being invested here, Jibbo. What looks like a 1 fight already. Could this come back to bite them as we are nearing 1 fight territory? And
there are 5 ults on the side of Taters. They are going to have to engage early with maybe, you know, this maybe a Bat Matrix up the middle along with that EMP. They have to really figure out what way are Taters going and capitalize upon that.
Fentinel's Immortality is going to be huge here, but Beagle finds another pick on the Bullet Dodgers. This hook is unstoppable. They have 10 seconds left. Now it's just up to somebody to come and swinging and touching. The grab comes through, pins Bleem to the back of the point. The Dragons do come through as the EMP as well. Zero finds 1, finds 2. Coco finds White Queen as Bleem finds Jagex. It is absolute mayhem on point yet again. Beagle with the whole hog takes down Maka, continuing to find so many picks. Polish over here managing to shred Beagle. That terrible, terrible play matchup between the Reaper and the Hog finally coming to fruition. Danny Yuki just zapping onto point over here to get a quick touch over here as White Screen as Ravioli say managed to find those exit kills, and it is a point B hold from Valkyries here in the Overwatch Oasis League. Jiva, every time it looks bleak, every time it looks difficult, the Valks manage to just finesse their way onto holds. This is ridiculous.
Even though sometimes it seems like in the moment Valks might be over ulting, realistically, Danny is building up that Valk really quickly again, especially when you have a Roadhog on your team. It's so easy for a support to just kind of really pour some heals into that hog, build up that ult, and then, you know, they really get to save, take a breather for when they're in a dire strait kind of thing. We saw how quickly Danny got that ult back there again, and I think one thing Taters really need to do is focus in on Danny there, because the reses that they are getting off right now is pretty game-changing here for Valks.
Well, speaking of that Roadhog, talk me through Beagle's impacts at that last point.
So Beagle was able to kind of push all of, in that very last fight at least, was able to push most of Taters more towards spawn, which is pushing them towards obviously where the rest of the team is coming from.
Right.
We did see Polish turn and get a amazingly great kill. Coco, you gotta watch those voice line spams. Hey Nation, welcome to the stream. But we did see really, you know, Polish was able to take him out very quickly.
So Jagex and Bleem continuing to run the Reinhardt here. Beagle sticking with the the Roadhog, getting my Australian terrorists mixed up. Sticking onto the Roadhog over here that has proved so helpful. But Polish here ready to set up the wall to start this fight off. Jagex does get slept early on. That is the go button pressed on the side of Bleem. But Bleem, not knowing that they're running a mate, does get melted immediately by Zero and that wall. Ravioli scene just barely getting out with their life, and it's just left Beagle to sustain that tank line as the Vox are forced to back up. White by a lovely little headshot here from Zero, doing what a Hanzo does best. Not just a regular Hanzo, a damage boosted one.
Always a very scary thing. Definitely helps you get rid of anybody in the backlines. You know, a body shot does a lot more damage and can count as a headshot almost. Especially on the right.
Oh, but Jagex does get pulled over here. Maka just keeping them alive with that healing beat over here. But the oh no, the flux got interrupted, it looks like, as nobody really goes down. Bleem gets stuck onto the front line, but the damage is there to take down Ravioli. Seeing the Dragons do come out, zoning Bleem away from the rest of their team, and the healing is not there. Their team forced to back out due to those Dragons. Great Dragons coming out from Zero over here, not getting any kills, but the zoning is kind of a textbook play there from a Hanzo ult.
Beagle doing a really nice job of pushing through these shields so that they are able to get one and pull one. We did see Polish go down to Beagle's hook there, and they tried to take Maka out just as Maka was rezzing.
Well, the shadow comes in from Jagex. Beagle gets stunned, but Bleem has a counter of their own, and that nade is splashed on. Jagex has no healing. Fendel with a lovely little bio nade. The nano comes onto Bleem as well, and Bleem continues to swing away out point, dealing all the damage that they could possibly ask for. Beagle takes down Coco. Bleem takes out bullet dodges as Zero falls to Danny Yuki. 3 kills coming out from the side of the Valk as they look to retake this point. Coco does manage to get res. Maka does chase the life for it, and Polish goes down as well. To Danny Yuki continuing to find kills with the blaster. White Screen takes down Coco as well, and it looks like a point A capture from the Valkyries, Jibba.
So a lot of good ult management here still on the side of Valkyries. They have both DPS ults incoming along with another hammer down, which we just saw get used from the Bleem. Whereas on the side of Taters, it looks a little dicey here because they do have the Sigma and the BAP. So want to see an early Matrix field so the rest of the team can kind of build up an ult here.
Well, Optic to take the top right side again, and like I said last on the last gen, I'm very curious to see both teams pushing the top right, given that they're both running Junkrats. White Queen with a Tiger online, of course, maybe looking to take a sneaky little Junkrat angle that we love to see so much. But Ravioli does fall early. Beagle not finding anybody picks with that hook, and it looks like Vox do have to slow down a little bit. White Queen taking a very sneaky little flank route over here, but does get noticed and is pressured out by a Zero.
So it looks like Beagle is going to be going straight to point, try to make Taters drop here.
Like I said, the high ground Sigma is so smug and so useful. But both teams just taking their time, looking to build up some ults, and lots of ults coming online, Jibba.
Yeah, Valks will be able to push in with almost every single ult here, but this this little dance that they had here on the top left was really, really allowed Taters to be able to match them in this next fight.
Alright, the Valkyrie comes out and so does the Blizzard. That is the go button being pressed on both teams. Gleams comes out with a shatter. Jagex, not just shattered, but also frozen, gets killed almost immediately. The Heinen comes out interrupted by Daddy Yuki, finding consistent kills on a mercy. Whitebeam takes down 0, and that is a point B capture from the side of the Valkyries as they take the series 2-1, romping into the league here on Hanamura, Jibba.
I actually think that was Fent that got a sleep onto McCree. And I think Danny is the one who followed up with a kill there, because I did hear that. I heard that sleep dart go off. I'm not sure. I'd have to watch that back for that one. But just
That's
like
wild.
Really impressive support plays from Valkyries here. I liked the intention of staying up there on the top left from Taters. But unfortunately, they were dropping into a May ult, they were dropping into the the Hog ult, so it was very zoning ults.
I mean, and it's also the harsh reality that you're holding top point, knowing that you can only give up one tick, right? And I feel like what you could very clearly tell, was very clearly telegraphed there, was that the Valkyries knew that their win condition was just that one fight. They had to come in, they had to win one fight, so we're going to play patient, we're going to build up some ults, we're going to force you to rotate, and then we're going to press the go button all at once, and you saw all this mayhem and chaos kick off onto the point. Very, very impressive performance here by the Valkyries as they take the series 2-1 here in the Overwatch Oasis League.
I think we can see a reverse sweep, though. It would not be the first time we've ever seen one.
Nothing would make me happier than casting a map 5 with you tonight, Jibba. I know you gotta wake up early, but you know how I get when we get to a map 5.
Listen,
please.
I love
Vaults
map
pull
5s.
through.
My team keeps playing them. I love map 5s.
Poor Jibba over here contractually obligated to love them.
It is Lijiang too, which is literally one of my favorite maps to be able to play
Lijiang
here.
is fantastic. Lijiang always looking a little extra festive with some fireworks going off, just polluting that what is usually spotless Guilin air in Western China. But you know, the launch center is there, so I don't assume the smog is anybody's concern anymore.
It wouldn't be a full, like, by definition reverse sweep, but if Taters are able to win this map and then win map 5, I would consider that a pretty big reverse sweep in my opinion.
I feel like that's fair enough, especially given the momentum of how Valks held on Hollywood and took that point B on Hanamura, Jibba.
I'm doing some swaps here. Leave me
No
alone.
worries. No worries. But no, like I said, the momentum there, you know, kind of all on the Valkyrie side as they had a very, very solid performance holding the streets of B, their ability to kite and back out of fights having to be so very impressive to not just us, the viewers, but kind of very affirming as a player. You have your trust in your tanks and your supports to communicate the kite call and to back up. And of course, Hanamura, you can see that they had a very clear game plan in mind and they just had to execute, right? Build up 5 ults, build up 6 ults, force them to drop, clap them, hit triangle, spin to win, and they made it work. And the clear pathing and that clear momentum isn't just about winning the map, but how you won the map. So looking up here for Valkyries as they take this to a match point on Gibraltar. Valkyries leading 2-1 against the Tater bots. Gibraltar, of course, especially at this point, a hugely advantageous to a dive composition over here, so we'll be curious to see if Bleem plays anything other than the Reinhardt today. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Beagle with that hog, maybe just with that hook threatening the high ground could be all it takes to not, you know, having to match the dive. And of course, if you attack and you run an attacking diva dive into a roadhog, nothing but pain awaits you.
Dumpster strat is great on defense for this map as long as you can pull it off very well. It's definitely hard and you do give up a lot of space when you try to organize that, but I could see it happen.
Fair enough.
What am I swapping? 0 bullet, not a bullish. All right. So now we just need readies from the teams.
A hugely impressive and slightly BM performance here from Danny Yuki, getting 2 blaster kills with that Mercy in Hanamura this past round.
It's always so it's so funny because I'm really not like a big Battle Mercy person myself.
Right.
I tend to normally just stick on the heels because my aim is so shoddy, and I've tried on Mercy's pistol, but it's just so slow for me. Like it's just not my thing. So whenever I do see a really good Battle Mercy, it's definitely a noticeable thing. So between the impressive sneaky reses, and when I say sneaky because it's happening literally in the middle of Taters there, when I see those impressive reses along with, you know, then switching immediately to being a Battle Mercy, it's just a really smart utilization of the character.
No, fair enough. But here we have Coco coming back into partner Jagex on that tank line. Maybe hoping to restore some of that map 1 mojo back onto the team. Bleem sticking on as well. Beagle staying in. If I'm being honest, I don't know what Beagle's hero pool looks like. But that Roadhog, if you're Roadhog 1 trick, you're good enough to be Roadhog 1 trick, my friend. Of course, Ravioli staying partnering White's Queen, a completely unchanged damage lineup all through today's series. Danny Yuki partnering Living Truth on that supply line. White's Queen, heavy crap, but not trick territory, as we have seen them switch over to whatever they've needed so far this season. But nothing like a good Junkrat to really make the opposition tanks fear for their lives. As we have Reddy's coming in from both teams, and we are jumping into Gibraltar here in the Overwatch Oasis League as Valkyrie to lead the Tater bots 2-1. Like I mentioned earlier in this cast, Valkyrie and Tater bots have identical records so far this season, winning 1 and losing 2. So 2 mid-table teams looking to close that gap to the higher performing ones.
I'm not really sure what I would like to see. You know, Watchpoint, a lot of teams like to hold that high ground, and you either have to drop back behind the whatever the things are called, the blanking.
The server room?
No, whatever these things are called,
the big boxes.
Yeah,
the
those
containers.
The containers.
Yeah,
Containers.
we'll
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. You either have to, you know, let the team push down under through under bridge here and drop behind them, or you need to fall back immediately to the other side of it. So when you play this high ground, I feel like unless you stop them very early on, and unless you like drop and meet them head on before the payload even gets under there, you end up giving up a good amount of space, in my opinion, which can always be a scary thing to do.
And it's just kind of you defaulting to one fight here on point A. But here we have Bleem and Beagle running a Rhine Monkey duo. Not very conventional, but something I love to see. Bleem does get trapped early. Oh no, sorry, Beagle gets trapped early on, but no worries. The jump jets are up as they go to the high ground, of course, with Danny Yuki pocketing him the whole time. But Beagle does end up falling in a quite difficult to res position. That is 2 for 2 trades coming through, but Danny Yuki does res Beagle, and it is a 5-on-3, I believe, here on the point. Jimma, like we said, basically one-fight territory already very early on this point.
Especially with Beagle in those back lines, he is hard focusing on the supports back there. But
yeah, I was just gonna say, Beagle making the lives of Maka and Polish extremely difficult here, and Maka going on to basically 1 health. The Bionate is there to save themselves, and that is huge. The peel is there as the Ana is able to rotate out. Leave Grandma alone, please. But Beagle is relentless. I think part of what makes this work so well is I think they're running what is quite a brawly composition, but using and execute the same principles of a dive. Beagle jumping in takes a lot of attention, and Bleem immediately sweeping in right afterwards. Not a dive comp, but the dive spirit is well and alive.
Along with having Danny just pocketing Bleem and Ravioli there, you know, getting those hacks in, especially if it's one singular person, you can tell that they're really working together with Bleem focusing on whoever Ravioli is hacking.
Well, Jags does end up getting picked over here as Zero forced to use the High Noon just to buy the team a little bit of extra space. They come in 5 on 6. The tire is whipped out and it finds 2 immediately. That is, oh no, the Tater bots are left without supports here as Maka and Polish both go down, but White Scheme does end up getting picked, but res very quickly. Jag, Eggs, and Coco both fall as well as the Valkyries continue to push this point. Weiss over here, not just a 2K, but a 2K onto the supports, Jibba.
Really smart decision here from Taters to back out of this because they can be caught with bad spawns here. So you can see them just regrouping themselves, which getting caught bad spawn will really hurt your team at this position.
Jibba, 5.5 minutes. Oh.
Almost 6.
Oh my, this is going to be a hold for the storybooks here from the Tater bots. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We don't see a lot of swaps coming on to the Valkyries. We're running exactly where we started. Ravioli Stain could be huge with that EMP. With really the trans not there to counter. Jag X immediately flattened by an Earth Shatter. The counter pin does come through, but it misses as Gleam falls. The Shatter comes and finds to the high minutes as well. Jag X finds 2, Zero finds Beagle. But Valkyries feeling a little okay about that, you know, trading the Earth Shatter for Jag X's Earth Shatter as well as Zero's High Noon, but maybe the most expensive part of that push is leaving Polish that time to build up the Transcendence. So Ravioli Stain will have to play all the mind games in the world to make sure that Trans does not come through and save their team.
Yeah, because
Beagle goes in with a dive, this time a little bit more conservative with that dive, just keeping it, you know, just on top of that barrier, partly knowing that Coco has that coming through. Oh, the EMP comes through, but the Trans is not caught there. Daniyuki pops the Valkyrie to keep this fight going. Weiss finds one, Beagle finds another, Maka goes down as Live in Truth is res. 6 on 2 here on point. Zero takes a lovely little off angle, chunks Bleem down to half health, but 1 fight territory and the numbers are not looking good for the Tater bots here, Jiva.
See, that was a situation there which I was going to say. Polish was going to wait for that Junkrat audio cue before he pops Trans, and he was literally able to save that team from an entire team kill there. Might have been more beneficial for Valks to use the Sombra ult first.
Well, Coco here does get melted on point. Zero ult in the backline, but Annie with the blaster ready to go yet again. Jags does manage to touch, but is absolutely melted here on point, and this is going to hurt. The Reaper ultimate comes through, but the disruption from the Anchor Monkey is there, but no worries. We have Coco on point, spin to win, baby. That is a lovely pin out from Bleem, as Valks are still fully man on point. Taterbot does get 4 bodies, but Coco and Zero do get melted very, very quickly. But Jagging's out. The Shatter finds 2 in the backline. Your tank line is shattered and floored onto the ground, but no reason to support is there. Daniyuki pops the Valkyrie. The tire comes out, finds Coco. The staggers are making it work. The Taterbot. These staggers could be what makes this map winnable in the end, but is looking consistently more and more difficult as Valks pushing to the end with 3 minutes remaining. Jibba.
I want to compliment Taters on that though, because you know, going into that fight, Valks did have almost 6 minutes to push that, and realistically, they pushed that payload pretty much around corner within the first 30 seconds of it. So even though that seemed a bit of a hard stall, Taters were able to eat off almost 2.5 minutes between their ability to stall that point and kind of stall from that corner onward. So it's still anybody's game here.
I think if you split up that round, which I know obviously you cannot, but if you split up that round between you know, the beginning server room stage and then on to hangar over here, but split A and B and C up. C kind of looks like a very, very good hold if you forget that A and B happened.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Zero over here teasing us with that Bastion. That cheese strat coming through as the Taterbots and the Valkyries both have their win conditions online.
Taters have done Sorry, I was going to say they've done a good job on flexing between the different characters and putting people on the different roles here. We've seen a lot come out from them, so I definitely think, you know, having Bullet back on this DPS and on that McCree could be really beneficial, especially against the Sombra.
Fair enough. Taterbot's pushing out here with Jagex on the Reinhardt and Coco with the Roadhog. Beagle matching as well. We haven't seen a lot of Roadhogs in this league so far, but Coco gets melted out immediately as well. Zero tries to go in with that Genji to contest and heal for the Hog, but it's just a touch too late. Maka goes down as well as an early reset, but crucially, Jiba, Valk's forced to give up that high ground just for a little bit here as the payload makes it into the bottom kill box.
Really nice boop from Polish, able to knock majority of the tanks down there.
Zero does get hooked and gets taken on by Beagle. Beagle does not miss. Hook's consistent and massive today.
And Beagle just waiting up on that high ground, waiting for the next person to kind of come up there and try and take that rotation.
Well, Bullet Dodgers does take a Live in Truth, making it a 6-on-5 fight here. Bullet Dodgers missing that first hook. Coco taking down White Speed, uncharacteristic from Beagle here. We are expecting a 100% hook ratio. Bleem goes in for a deep pick, doesn't find anybody, and that aggression is punished as Bullet Dodgers does manage to fan the hammer and take them down. White Speed alone over here trying to contest. Nope, Living Dream here to peel just a little bit, and the whole hog comes through from Beagle, takes out Coco over here. Danayuki popping that Valkyrie. Once again, Jiba consistently. Valkyrie, when the going gets tough, an ult comes through and the fight is swung.
And it looks like
I have spoken too soon because Zero does pop. The Blade takes out Beagle as Bleem's Flash Strike takes down Maka. It's a little bit of chaos as the Valkyries do manage to stabilize here, Jiba.
Really impressive focus there from Zero to take Bleem out, or I'm sorry, Beagle out. But again, Danny was pocketing there for a little while, able to kind of get their ult back up and was able to get that res off there in the end.
Bleem 90% to an Earthshatter, matching Jag pace for pace. The Tater comes through, finds two Coco ults, but the whole hog is interrupted by a well-timed hack here from Ravioli Stain. Ooh, that is a 1-for-1 trade on ults, but the Tater finding a lot more value over here as the White Queen consistently managing to find some huge tires so far today.
Really synergized tank line here, you can see on the side of Valkyrie. But you see that for the DPS too on the side of Taters. So I like that they switched their rotation up here, taking some high ground instead.
Seeing the high ground here, forcing Beagle to play a slightly more conservative position and forcing White Queen off that high ground, that could be huge. Ravioli Stain does find Bullet Dodgers first very early. Zero comes through with the Blade, not finding anybody quite yet without the nano boost to back them up, but hacking and slashing away, forcing Valks to drop so very deep. Jax doesn't find anybody with that Earth Shatter, and Bleem is pressuring them left, right, and center. Beagle finds one, Bleem finds another, as Zero is continuing to dash to the back line, but does try to get out with their life. Coco's stuck here, base a little bit more just to be on point, but you feel like you're just stacking yourself at that point as the Roadhog. Zero caught out over here could be very, very dangerous. The sleep does come through to slow it down. Zero does not manage to get out. One fight territory here on the side of Taterbots here, Jiba.
They, it is one fight here. It's almost, you want to maybe see them try something different. You know, I do understand they have these ults coming online. We should be seeing maybe a nano blade coming in, but it might be beneficial to try a nano bullet dodger instead and get that extra damage onto the McCree.
Well, White Queen with a tire on the high ground. The hook comes onto the higher, but it doesn't matter. It is designated. Beagle finds Jagex as the tire, finds Bullet Dodgers. Exer does find Bleem. Could be huge, but Bleem does get red. Zero finds Danayuki. Zero does go down eventually to White Queen's mind. White Queen so consistent getting those big picks through. Bleem and Ravioli Steam finds one apiece, and that is enough here to hold as Valkyrie takes the series 3-1 against the Taterbots here in the Overwatch Oasis League. That is some lovely Overwatch we just witnessed here as the player of the game goes over to Jagex on the Reinhardt. Great skin too.
Great old man emote there too. Highlight intro.
Oh, the pin onto the defensive Mercy. You'd love to see it. But some great play coming out from the Valkyrie over here with some very, very impressive team play. White Queen, so very impressive. And Jiba, Pete, my flawless and seamless segue here. White Queen has to be a contender, a front runner for MVP tonight.
Definitely a front runner, but my picks are going a little bit of a different way, and it is nothing against Weiss Queen at all. Um, I want to actually start with supports personally, if we can go with
Okay.
that one. While we saw amazing job from Maka and Polish and Bullet Dodger, Living Truth and Fent, for me, hands down, I would have to go with Danny. I know we
I
saw,
think that's fair enough.
we saw some really great immorts from Bullet. We saw a great beat there from Polish. Maka played amazing on both the Moira and the Mercy. Living Truth, we saw some also really good Lucio play, and Fentanyl had like an amazing Anna, really good purples, really good sleeps, but just the way that Danny played for the team tonight and the reses that they got off, I think were really game changing, and they definitely focused on who they were resing. It wasn't just like a random let me fly in there and try and res someone to help stall this point or get somebody back. It was very specific people that either had their ults or it was the tanks, to help keep the point theirs and or take the point. So for me, I would go with Danny.
Fair enough. I think Danny Yuki's resurrections kind of, especially on Hanamura, when I exclaimed and screamed so my neighbors hate me now. But when we went through those crazy emotions of Valks popping out these huge holds, I think that did come from Danny Yuki's resurrections, and the Blaster Mercy, the Bloodthirsty Mercy, is a little bit of a meme, but if we're being totally honest, Danny Yuki getting some very crucial kills, at one point killing and ulting McCree right at the end of Gibraltar there. So, yeah, I'm not trying to fight you on this. I think Danny Yuki, hands down, I think takes the cake on the support line.
So then I would, and this is where like my thing is coming in, I would go to tanks next.
Okay.
And Jag did amazing, playing that Reinhardt all night long. And Jag and Bleem, honestly, were very hand in hand against each other with the charges. Like you said, they didn't overextend. They really shielded their team. One would shatter, the other would counter shatter. So they really just hard played against each other and played amazing. Coco did a really good job on that hog. When we saw Pookie on the Zarya was high charged almost majority of the maps that they were on. Korean playing that Sigma really played it intelligently, like we called out on Hollywood, the weight on using the flux. But Beagle was an absolute standout.
Machine
Yeah.
with those hooks.
Honestly, unstoppable tonight. So, like, while I understand the Weiss Queen, for DPS, and honestly, Ravioli also did a really good job on DPS too. It's so hard for me to just overlook Beagle and not give Beagle the tank MVP.
That's fair. I think what kind of stands out as a difference. I think if we're trying to compare Beagle and Weiss's performances here, Weiss kind of delivered a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 Junkrat performance that we come to expect from a Junkrat of their caliber. But Beagle completely, I think, single-handedly halted many, consistently and single-handedly stopped a lot of offenses with something as easy as just a cooldown rather than having to invest in ults. But when it came to the ults, not being cheap about them, having absolutely no qualms, just ulting a solo Reaper and making it work. So this is going to be a tough pick.
I don't mean it insultingly either. Roadhog ult, in my opinion, and so many people can tell me I'm wrong, but Roadhog ult is like literally one of the
tough one to use.
Yeah, I was gonna say
useless.
useless. It's not useless. It's a great zoning ult, but you can't kill, like, it's so hard to kill somebody with it unless you literally back them into a corner and you're kind of up in their face, and you have to use your ult beginning to end and be hard on them for it to use. And Beagle used it and zoned really well, but whenever he was finished with his ult, it was always a hook right there followed up with that combo to just finish somebody up.
Fair enough. What are your picks for the damage line then?
So, like I said, Weiss Queen and Ravioli did a really good job. I do want to also give a shout out to Bullet Dodger on damage and Polish on the DPS. But seeing Zero come in and play those different characters, we saw a lot of good utilization on Genji, a lot of good utilization on the Pharah. Hollywood, that Genji blade with the bubble and the grav, while that was a whole team effort, and I do want to compliment Taters on that, it's that literally helped them take first point, and then that immediate change to the Pharah really helped them to start push that through. So I would go with 0 for DPS personally.
I I think part of and like this, I suppose this can be taken two different ways. I think where we differ on the pick of 0 is that I think that especially in Hollywood, we saw the Genji a lot. We saw the Genji into what is basically a world of hurt with the CC coming out, and the Pharah into the Torb turret is always a risky move, but they were able to kind of work around that and obviously not find as much value as you usually would, but still manage to put out a very respectable impact onto the game. So I don't fully disagree with you there. We love you, but this is a very, very close call.
Yeah, like I said, like I know Weiss Queen played absolutely amazing, and it's like those tires were game changing, and it is absolutely nothing against them. It's just Beagle and Danny like did really just held points and
Yeah.
helped their teams, and for me did what they needed to do. So it's hard for me to just not want them.
All right. So are we settled on this? The Beagle, Zero, and Danny Yuki.
That's what I would like to go with, but I don't want to strong arm you into that one.
No, no, that's fair enough. I'm looking at this, and that feels like kind of the best way to close it out. So,
And I think we can do an honorable mention to Weiss Queen.
of course, I think that would be the least we could do here. So, here you have it. Valkyrie's 3, Taterbots 2 here in Week 6 of the Overwatch Oasis League. MVPs tonight going out to Beagle on the tank line, 0 for damage, and Danny Yuki on
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out and support. We always love having you here. Good night, guys.